Hello and welcome to another episode of Grade My Logo, the series where we take logos that you've submitted at grademylogo.com, we review them, take them apart, and hopefully learn some stuff together. Today, we're going to be looking at Pleasant Hill Church. I am really excited to jump into this one, but before we do, just a quick reminder of the grading system here. So 25 points per section, and we're really trying to make sure any logo that goes out the door answers these questions. Like, does it work in single color? Is there a good game plan there? Is it scalable? Does it tell a story? And this is the biggest one that most people struggle with, or most logos are lacking, I should say. And then number 4 is Josh's completely biased, subjective opinion. If you ask a room of 100 people what they think about a logo, you're going to get about 100 different answers. And so, a lot of times you hand the same project to 4 designers, you're going to get 4 potentially really great logos that look super different. And then bonus points for anybody if you submit stuff to grademylogo.com. If you give me Illustrator files, that's really helpful, and we'll award bonus points. Not that the points actually matter that much. But another thing to remember here is the goal is not to expose flaws or have some kind of gotcha moment that, I'm not trying to remix logos for the sake of clout or whatever, but just to learn together and kind of practice and walk through how I'm thinking about these things and approaching them. That being said, there's usually more than one right answer. This is what I land on here today is not going to be the best or only thing because we are flying blind. We don't know the context or the situation that this logo was created in. And a lot of times, committee approvals and 7,000 other factors go into how something was arrived at originally. And we're also missing the most important ingredient here, which is context and input from the client. That's a huge part of how we approach logo projects here at Brightcoal. But we don't have that today. We are just kind of running and gunning, which can be a lot of fun too. All right, so let's grade Pleasant Hill Church here. Does it work in single color? Yeah, maybe. It depends on how much this little crescent guy would come into the play. I assume that is part of the hill that we're going for, so we'd want to see that show up. I think there's a world where it could work, but it's like kind of partial credit here. So we'll say 20 out of the 25 points there. Is it scalable? Again, if you shrink this puppy down, even just taking the icon there, like we've got this dot church in there, which I would probably, let's not get into fixing it yet. Is it scalable? I would give this probably like a 15 here. Does it tell a story? Yeah, a little bit, maybe. If we're counting the hill thing, it's like a tie-in, sort of. It's not emoting a lot, right? Like I don't feel a lot looking at this, although there is some justifiable like visuals here. So is it telling a story? Let's say we'll give that a 15 too. There is some thought happening there. It's not just something abstract or like initials or something kind of picked out of a pot. And then Josh's completely biased opinion here. I think it's okay. I think I've seen worse. I would give this, I don't know, 10 out of the possible points there. So you add this together, math time, 35. Oh, we should have thought through this thing here. That's 30, 50, 60 total. That is not a great letter grade. What is that? Like a D maybe? So not trying to be too harsh here, but there's some room for improvement. Let's see if we can bring this up a bit. So first thing I'm thinking about here is the P and the H and this hill here. And this is again where I would typically want to hear from the folks here as to what the overall tone and the feel of the thing should be. Because I'm about to just pick some stuff out of thin air that I think will look nice, but ideally this matches up with the style of the tone or the energy in the room when you're at this church. So I'm picking this puppy just because it was the first thing I thought of and kind of had an idea here. So I'm trying to play with a monogram that also integrates this little hill. Like I think that's a nice piece to include. And I think it could be maybe the crossbar in our H here. So let's play with what that could look like. Another thing I should add to our list of like, there's 9,000 ways to do this is same thing is true for these tools. Like, there's probably a better way to do this, but this is the way I'm doing it today. Boop. And we're just going to nix that little bad boy right there. And, you know, we're going to kind of eyeball it here. And one thing I'm thinking through is like, okay, so a lot of times the interesting parts of monograms comes from where you create your shadows. And before I erase stuff and start giving it some depth, I'm really trying to figure out, does the P need to come, you know, where is that puppy showing up? Is he centered in the middle? Like this is giving us some fits a little bit. Another possible option is, can we extend this puppy out? And am I just abusing this type here? Yeah, for sure. But again, this is a little bit of like a speed run. Don't love that. We got some problems there. Let's try and kick our H super, super wide and see if we can retain a lot of our original P, if you will. Is there another word we should be? Hey, well, first of all, it's PH. PHC. Be super sneaky to hide like another C over here and get some more balance going on, maybe. That'd be super cute. PHC. Although I think that's going to start getting pretty busy. I used to do all this stuff behind closed doors, and then I found that sometimes it's kind of interesting to see all the messy bits. So now this is like, a lot of this stuff will happen like in client meetings. Like we'll kind of do what I'm doing here and riff on a rough concept for a while. All right, so I'm realizing one of the challenges or things that I don't love, that I don't know if it's solvable, is this line. I want to be in the middle, but like we can't contend with, like, it's going to look bad over here. It's going to, like, I think we just need to optically center this puppy and go from there. And I'm also wondering if this needs to be a little bit thinner. All right. Am I in love with this? Is this the greatest thing in the universe? No, but it's a good step in the right direction. And again, this is where I should be measuring. No. Again, just doing this for giggles here to see, does it conceptually work? I think it's going to just get way too crowded down there. All right, let's do this though. Let's go ahead and do some of our shading. So I do like having this come here, and then maybe it's getting too disjointed here, possibly. I think we really accentuate the crossbar when we've got it going underneath all of them. Which really draws a lot of attention to the hill in Pleasant Hill Church. Boy, I really want to put something down there, but I don't know what it would be. I almost want to see if there's like a super wide C we could do. It just draws way too much attention when you put it down there. And this is where sometimes again, like the magic key is in the client's deal. I'm like, hey, is there like a landmark or some other little like meaningful like symbol or star or, you know, something to put down? And like that would be a great space for that. Another option, I don't know. Let's roll with this for now. And now let's look over here at our, again, this is where I'm good at developing a lot of options, but bad at choosing a winner, which is why I usually kick it back to the client and say, hey, here's some stuff. What do you think? Or I'll pass it to our crew, and it's really fun to see what other people come up with on the backside. So I don't feel like the .church needs to be in this at all for it to still work. I think this puppy probably will work pretty nicely in a circle. As much as possible, I typically try not to put things in a container, just because I think it can be a little bit of a crutch, or like, I shouldn't say a crutch, but like an unnecessary element. Like, does this thing work without it? Yes, it does. How can we, win through subtraction and less is more type of deal? But I mean, it is nice. And another thing that this does is it softens the change from this to something else. Like someone say, oh, like pH, got it. Yeah, like these come through. And for our other type selection, I'm going to let you guys in on a little bit of a cheat that I will do. I'll search. So I know that this main font was Optima, and I'll do Type Wolf is an amazing resource. And it'll pull up stuff that pairs nicely with it. Now, am I like leaning on other people's choices and experience, and could they be wrong? Sure, but like it's a good jumping off point. A Perku, I think that's how you say it. Might be a cool one. P22 Underground is a similar one in Adobe. Big shout out to, I forget his name, but the guy that's been running that thing. It is ew, yuck, way too curvy for this. I bet you all caps is going to feel pretty acceptable though. And this is a big deal too. Like you always want to make sure that you know who's leading the conversation here. Sometimes it's the word mark, sometimes it's some kind of icon, but you really, regardless of, maybe they're pretty integrated, but what you don't want is those things pretty different and competing with each other. And what I mean by that is like we don't want something really attention getting over here, sending a very different message, lots of personality. And let's go to, what's clear face? Oh, that's the script right there. Fonts in use is another great one that I love. Let's go do that same thing. And I'm curious to see how other designers work, but this is a lot of times what I'm doing is like I'm think of it like a Rubik's Cube, where I'm like building a piece or locking in one piece, and then I keep going. It's like in this example, we've locked in theoretically Optima for our monogram here. And so then I'm like working on pieces that match that. And then if we get this one locked in, then I could go pick out a headline font. Oh, perfect. I'm not signed in. Y'all close your eyes. Don't look at my password. Nuance Unica. Of course, I've got it already. Should have checked in here first. All right, so this guy falls in the category that I'm calling safe and lacking. Like it's just kind of fallen in that like Helvetica Gotham zone where a lot of churches in particular like default to it because it works pretty well. But I do think we're not too far from the correct answer here. Let's try brother. It's similar to the other. So yeah, again, this is where I get to be like my own worst critic. Like this thing kind of feels like a hotel a little bit, right? But did we fix a lot of the questions or issues or challenges with the previous version of the logo? Yeah, I think so. And again, this is where it's fascinating. Like this could be absolutely the wrong answer for this church. I don't know what it's like to be there on a Sunday. I don't know what part of the country they're in or what their people do or what they're into. And really, we're trying to turn up the volume on the things that are unique and interesting, and the things that they're doing really well, and signal that here in this mark is again, like best case, everything working ideally together. But I could see something like this making a lot of sense, and at least just kind of arbitrarily picking some stuff here. But this is Pleasant Hill. This is one approach that I would take, and I probably need to set a timer for these things because I could just keep going and going and going. I'm gonna finish after this one though. Boop. All right, and so we're on our way, folks. And so theoretically, if this is a fit and the townspeople love it, then I've got a lot of answers here and know kind of how to start. Let's go 1940. We're just picking out a number here. Ooh, we're not level. I think so much of this is, at least for me, is just kind of like working through steps and creating building blocks, and then kind of riffing off of those pieces, lock in stuff. But that's the big key, is like make sure with your crew that you're headed in the right direction before you go build 1,000 iterations of these things, because this could be way off, but it is a plan. It's a system that could work, But anyway, we're gonna call it a day from here, guys. Thank you so much for hanging with us, and if you'd like to submit your logo for review and kind of go through this process, you can visit grademylogo.com and send stuff over. Again, honored to be a part of this community, and until next time, adios. Hope you had some fun, maybe learned something, but if nothing else, hopefully it was entertaining. We've got some other episodes in this series if you want to check them out while you await the next episode. Hopefully it will not be like 3 years before we post in this thread again. Guys, love you. Hope you have a great rest of the day. Adios.